Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Brett's Brain. Today, we're going to talk about how to manage rejection during a fundraise process. Hey, I'm Brett Brohl, former entrepreneur, current venture capitalist. Thanks so much for checking out this channel. Our goal is to help entrepreneurs succeed. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and ask us questions on how we can help you in your journey. All right, fundraising is hard. Rejection is a part of it. You are going to hear no far more times than you hear yes. I've raised lots of money for my startups and for my venture funds, and I have probably at this point heard no thousands of times to the idea that I am vehemently passionate about, that I love, that I believe in, that I am putting all of my blood, sweat, and tears into. And it's really hard to hear that when you can't convince somebody to join you in your mission, to join you in that vision. It's like chips away at you over and over and over again, and you can lose confidence. It can affect your personal life. So I get how hard it is. We're going to talk a little bit less about the personal side and more about how to handle it from a business perspective and how to think about it. So let's start from the beginning. One thing you need to think about is that you're going to hear no 95, 99% of the time, a lot of it. So you need to have a big enough pipeline built up front where you know going into it, if you have 50 meetings, 49 of them might be no's. And it only takes that one. That's one thing to always keep in mind. I tell that to founders all the time. Remember, it only takes one yes to change the whole dynamic of your fundraise. One yes, that's all it takes. Really, really keep that in mind throughout it. And that's one way to help keep your mental attitude and the momentum going is, hey, I've got another one tomorrow. I just heard no 3 times today. It only takes one. If I can get this one tomorrow, those 3 yesterday, they didn't matter. So that's a great way to think about it throughout the entirety of the process. But back to the beginning is make sure you have a big enough pipeline so that all of those no's, as they stack up, you don't run out of potential fits. Number 2, make sure you're collecting feedback on why the no's are happening. Because sometimes your pitch might not be landing. It's not the company, it's not the idea, it's not you, it's the way you're presenting yourself. And you can actually, from your first 10 or so investor meetings, get a lot of great information about what people are looking for and how to present and represent your startup. And sometimes we go into that fundraise process thinking we know, but you can get great feedback. So make sure you are collecting that feedback so you can learn, not just for this round, but for subsequent rounds as well. It's really valuable data points that I don't think founders do a good enough job of collecting and then actually acting against. So it's not just collecting that data, it's actually what are you doing differently next time? So make sure you change your pitch a little bit. And that also can help keep momentum. That can help you stay mentally strong as, oh, the reason it's not working right now is because we weren't doing this right. The hard part, and what's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over again with expecting different results. And so these tweaks are the types of things that can change, the outcome of your fundraise, is collecting that feedback and changing and changing and changing. Now, let's say you had 50 potential leads and you're starting to get to the point where 30 have told you no. You're not even getting second meetings or third meetings. One of the things you need to do as a founder is evaluate, are you raising the right amount of capital? Because otherwise you're going to continue to burn leads and burn a ton of your valuable time because you're not raising the right amount of capital. And so another way to think about it is, are you ready for a seed stage raise? Are you ready for a Series A raise? So if you don't have the right metrics, you can go out and you can try and raise a $10 million Series A, but you're probably going to hear no every time if you're not ready. A great way to understand is if you're ready is if the feedback's always been, hey, you just don't have enough traction. You just don't have enough traction. We need to see more revenue. We need to see more usage. We need to see more users. Like, you're probably too early for the amount of capital that you're raising. So really be thoughtful about that up front. But that's also a great thing to ask about. If somebody tells you no, you say, hey, do you think that our metrics are aligned with the amount of capital that we're raising in this round? And I think once you get to that, that dozens of no's, you need to reevaluate that. And the answer might be, yes, we are ready for this round. We do have the metrics. We just haven't gotten that one yet. Remember, because it only takes one. And so, but you do need to reevaluate, are we raising the right amount of capital at some point in your fundraising journey? And something that's really important that can help you there is having great advisors or trusted people around you that can give you a dose of reality in that and say, hey, because as a founder, you always think your company's ready. You're always thinking, hey, if I had $10 million, we're going to crush it. But you need those people around you that can give you that dose of reality sometimes and say, hey, I think you're actually not raising the right amount of capital. You need to move it from a $10 million round down to a $4 million round. And then I think we'll get a lot more traction. And let's change who we're pitching from an investor standpoint. What's our ideal customer profile of investor, and make sure we're pitching the right people. Make sure you're pitching the right verticals of investors. So were you pitching food tech investors and you don't really have a food tech angle? So reevaluate those types of things. It's also great. You can do your fundraising in a couple of different tranches. So, don't burn all of your leads right away. Maybe you go out and you test your pitch with 4 or 5 first, get some feedback, redo your pitch. And so those first 4 or 5 no's that come in, they're okay no's because they help you redefine the way you're pitching. And then you go out to 20 investors and try and pitch 20 in 2 weeks and see what comes back. Are you pitching the right type of investor? Are you pitching at the right stage? Do you have the right type of money? Are you getting second meetings, third meetings, all partner meetings? And if you are, you're probably on the right track. And then you can go out and spend the rest of your intros, those next 20, 30, 40 intros. But it doesn't hurt to have a pipeline or a potential lead list of 100 investors because, again, you're going to hear no a lot more than you hear yes. But remember, throughout the entirety of the process, it only takes one yes. And once you have that term sheet, the entire power profile of a fundraise changes. Now you can go out and you should be able to close the rest of your round. Hopefully this is helpful. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and ask us questions so we can answer it in subsequent videos.